Hello, hello, hello. Why do I keep doing this? Hello, what's the crack? Welcome back to the Bad Movie Buff podcast with me, your host, Niall Brady. We're on season 8, episode 3, and another cracking episode in store for you this week. I'm joined by the comedian Cathaoir O'Hagan to chat about one of his favourite films, the Michael Bay true crime-ish film, Pain and Gain, starring The Rock and Mark Wahlberg. I met Cathaoir a few times at other gigs. I've seen him perform twice, and then had a few drinks with him in Belfast one night, and we got on the best. I had the fear the next day because I remember talking the ear off him, and I was like, "What are we talking about? Fucking death metal or something?" But it was good crack. So I wanted to get him on and chat shit about films, and I really enjoyed it. So I really hope you enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. And again, please like and subscribe or whatever, and enjoy the episode. Good luck. Cheers. That's us recording now, but
yes.
What's the crack? We're just chatting sock, trouser, gutty combos there. But
Yeah, I put on the wrong trainers today, and it's actually really ruined my entire day because this does not work together. But
I wouldn't have even. I think it looks grand. I wouldn't have even noticed hadn't you have said. Like,
it's one of them where it's like I had planned because I knew I would be seen today. If I wasn't being seen,
Yeah.
I would have just wore like a Barcelona top and a pair of GA shorts. But now it's like no.
you mix up the soccer and the gaff or sports attire, like
community. Because like you're not allowed to play soccer in GAA parks. I've tried for years; they wouldn't let you. So I always like to try and mix it up. At a time, I remember I didn't play for the team, but the hurling team near ours, people were banned from wearing soccer shirts to training. Yeah, like, and I was, but everybody like supported a soccer team. Everybody was wearing, but you weren't allowed to wear like gas shirts.
that's bonkers. Like,
I thought it was at the time too, but then where I'm from, also apparently banned having a Gaelic football team because it was bog ball and would take away from the hurling. But that's Northampton.
oh right, yeah. It must have been. I think it might have been your neck of the woods. I was talking to a lad in the Sunflower once, and he spoke very disparagingly about Gaelic, and then you assume that maybe he's going to be from the other side of the community. No, just big into hurling.
No, hurling up around ours is like a religion. It is like the main draw. And don't get me wrong, hurling's class.
Yeah.
But like Gaelic football's lethal too, especially since they brought in the 2-point line.
Yeah.
The 2-point line has changed the game.
You all for it? Yeah.
I'm all for it. I was up for a shot clock at a time because
Yeah.
it was getting bad at a time.
Yeah.
When like matches were ending 8 points each. It's like, bring in a shot clock, bring out the like basketball. Like that would have been far better. But no, the 2-point line's been great.
The Armagh down match didn't have a problem with low scoring.
It
anyway,
did not.
it?
That was wild.
It's hard. I'm a down man.
I know,
yeah.
right? That's the thing I always get confused about Newry, is that Newry's the same as Belfast and it's divided in two.
Yeah.
It's like, so one side's Armagh, one side's down. So
Yeah.
if you're from one side of the river in Newry, do you support down?
Now, I get abuse about this all the time. Aoife, my wife, being the main abuser.
Mhm.
I was born in the Armagh side of the river. I
Right.
lived my entire life in the Armagh side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
Even right now, we're in the Armagh side of the river.
Right.
In fact, I've never lived in the down side, but I'm a down fan because my dad was.
Well, you see, my cousin is Cookstown. They're twins. And one of them supports Tyrone and the other one supports Derry because his dad's from Derry.
Yeah.
And I always found that, like, I'm just like, I support who you want to support.
Yeah.
But it was just like, Tyrone were good at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But then Derry came good, and then now Armagh are good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
And
one of them.
down have been shit for
Down
years.
had their time in the 90s, and then in 2010. They went in 2010.
2010. They got the final and got beat by Cork, I
Did
think.
they?
Yeah.
I thought Down won it in recent years.
No, it was they got beat in the final. It was, I remember it was the same day that United were playing Liverpool, and Berbatov scored a hat trick, and one of them was an overhead shot.
Oh, the bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Aye, that was class.
And I was like, this day is going to be great. And then
Yeah.
Down got beat in the final like an hour later.
Oh,
Like,
fuck.
yeah.
No, it wasn't a good day. But no, the guy's good.
Yeah.
It has its. I think like the guy would be improved if you just used the Protestants.
Yeah.
Because if you brought everybody into it, like Antrim, that's the problem I think Antrim has, is that Antrim is the biggest population in all of the north,
Yeah.
but half, maybe more than half, is Protestant.
Yeah.
Use the Protestants in hurling. Because just tell them you can hit a Catholic with a stick and nobody can do anything.
Fair
And
enough.
like,
Yeah.
that'd be tight, actually.
Yeah. But it's an arms wide open sport. Like, everyone's welcome.
That's
I think
it.
some people are just maybe not inclined to, jump the fence,
it's just one of them. But you know what? It's just, I do understand that you use the rugby lads when you play GA, or Gaelic football, GA's on a collective term. Maybe bring back handball more. Is handball back down here?
Not really, no. There was, every, locality has their, kind of character about the town.
Yes.
So, have you ever heard of Marty Bogrell?
No.
He's Newry's guy about the town, and he's this guy. I'd say most people my age probably thought he was Santa growing up, because he's just like a homeless kind of looking man, drives around on a bike, big bushy beard, white hair, and just says hello to everyone. Just minds his own business. No one annoys him.
Yes.
He doesn't annoy anyone, but he's got the nickname Marty Bogrell. But he used to be an unbelievable handball player.
Right.
And there's a old Newry Facebook group we're posting in pictures of him winning tournaments and all back in the day. But that's, if you ask anyone in Newry about handball, that's the first thing they'll tell you is about Marty Bogrell.
It's a very, I don't know, is it a mean nickname? It's just what he's called.
It's affectionate. It probably is a bit mean, but he knows that everyone calls him that. There's a pal of mine called Gino Lynch, and he works in production and stuff, but he also does his own little projects, and he did a story. It sounds so mean, but it was genuinely affectionate, called Bogrell's Christmas Nightmare, and it was this short film about someone stealing his bike at Christmas, and then Santa bringing him a new one and all. I actually played the guy that stole his bike.
You
funny
stole
enough,
the bike, you horrible man. You stole his bike.
But he did a few of them, and then one of them, Marty Bogrell, was actually in it. Agreed to be in it, and said a wee poem at the end of it with a candle and all.
See, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool actually. There you go. No, we had a fellow like that near the town near ours. He was Good Day Donald. But because you would just say hello Donald, and he'd go good day and just walk on.
Oh fuck! I almost lost that. Good Day Donald. That's unbelievable.
He was class for everybody. He kind of left after COVID, and there was a lot of rumors that he had died.
Yeah.
And then one day, everybody just opened Facebook and seen the funeral post up about him, but he had died 4 years later, and people were convinced he died years ago.
It was like a Mandela effect.
It was like a Mandela effect. I don't know how he died, but he was a lovely fella, so he was. But that's what they call him, Good Day Donald.
I don't know, it's unreal. But right, I always forget this is a movie podcast.
Yes.
So we'll get into it here. That was a nice wee tangent, though.
It was.
Yeah, so this... welcome to Newry, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. I eventually found it and got parked.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me knows I don't like driving towns and cities.
Aye.
I've been very lost.
Yeah.
Put me in the countryside, I'll find anywhere. But it's the towns, I'm dead.
I feel like I let you down a wee bit there, because I should have said there was parking here, so you've parked in the Keys, which you're probably going to have to pay for as well.
Yeah, I think it was worked out roughly about £3, which isn't too bad. It's not that, it's then cutting across the junction to leave the town again is what I'm worried about. But once I get onto the motorway and I can bypass Belfast, I'll be fine.
It's handy enough. I was going to give you directions. No one wants to fucking hear that. I'll show you after. But yeah, so you've probably been here before. I've seen you in the Mona Brie gig and in Dundalk as well. So that's kind of brackets of Newry. You've probably been close before. Have you?
I've been down. I've always been down in the evenings when it was a bit quieter. But then, I've been near a pile of times, and Armagh, even though Armagh's not near here. But I've kind of been everywhere now, just driving all over.
Right enough, yeah. I actually wanted to ask you about that. So you were featured in BBC recently for doing a gig in each one of the 32 counties.
Yes. Yeah. Did it all in 1 year. That was my goal at the start of last year.
Yeah.
The plan was originally do as many as I can, but then it got to June and I'd done 16, and I was thinking I could get the rest of these in. Yeah. So I actually did manage to do it eventually just at the end of the year, the 4th of December, and I like that I finished in Wicklow because it was the last county in my list, and it's the last alphabetically. Yeah. So that was nice. That was kind of satisfying for me. But it was a cool wee experience. Got to see bits of the country that I never thought. Nobody really has a reason to go to Roscommon. Yeah. But I went, and it was like, this is a cool wee place. Yeah. It's kind of nice. It's weird seeing the south. It's similar, but it's different to here. Like how they approach comedy and stuff, because there's a lot more open mics where it's trad music, poetry, Keeley, and then you can be a comedian on it, and everybody listens. Yeah. Whereas up here, it's you kind of have to have a specific night. Yeah. I found that it's interesting now. It's cool now.
What was the best gig you did, or which county had the best gig? I should ask.
Probably, for going off the Free State, as my grandfather would call it, Monaghan.
Right, yeah.
Monaghan's class with the Squealing Pig.
Whereabouts in Monaghan's that now?
It's in Monaghan town.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it is, it's class, it is, because it's got like a red brick background, so you think you're like gigging in New York, but you're in Monaghan.
Smoking a bean on stage and all. Like.
I'm up there telling the truth, but it's class.
Is that why you're bringing the long hair back, just so you can have a wee ponytail and a cigarette? Like?
Kind of at the same time. No, we can't say as Matt doesn't know I'm growing the hair fully out yet.
Sorry,
she just thinks it's getting slightly longer.
I can edit that bit out.
We'll edit that out. Just beep it. Pretend I said a slur and we'll beep it.
So Monaghan, did you go to Sound Quality Gifts when you're in that direction?
I didn't. I clean forgot about her until recently.
Yeah.
Till she came up, because I think she's class.
She's unreal.
She just loves Irish country music.
Yeah.
And knickknacks.
Yeah.
And that's her two passions in life.
Yeah.
And I can respect that.
Yeah.
The same way I can respect the pursuit of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
See, that's
tie in.
segue.
Yeah. It took me a millisecond to go, oh yeah, that's right, yeah. And before we get into the movie, what was the worst gig, man?
Next door neighbour Calvin.
Oh yeah.
It was tough because it wasn't a comedy gig I went to. It was one of the open mics.
Okay.
But what happened was everybody pulled out bar me and a guy who was playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And he was from Armagh. But he was classing the guitar. But the thing was, we had to fill 2 hours, and he went up and played half an hour of music, and they says, you do 10 minutes of comedy to a crowd who had been drinking all day.
Oh god.
Because I think it was the bank holiday in the south.
Yeah.
And they did not listen.
No.
And I just went up, and I was doing new stuff as well. And it did not. There was one guy listening to me, because I have a video of it, and he was in a blue shirt sitting next to me, and he was loving it.
Yeah.
The other 150 people in the bar were like, you are a gimp.
And you've got I've seen you twice now. So first time I seen you was in Dundalk in the Mocara gig, the one that Darren Matthews runs, and then up in Monabree. I'm like Soupy's groupie. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
I just go to gigs that Soupy's playing, especially if they're local, because it's always a good excuse to get a pint in. But yeah. So you've such a unique style of comedy that. Is it tougher doing that when people aren't listening then?
You kind of have to abandon that, because nobody was. It looks like you're gonna fight everybody then, because in a comedy gig, it can be, it's unsettling, but I think you can get into it because you realize it's oh no, he's just strange. Yeah, he's not threatening. Whereas if you're doing that with everybody drinking, standing really still, you come across as threatening.
Fair enough.
And I have never left a gig quicker. I was like, I'll do a good thing, and I just ran and went and bought a bag of squashies and ate them in the car. I was I'm so just upset.
Emotionally eating squashies.
I was so done. I was just so finished that day.
Class. Well, here we'll get into it. So we're talking about the 2013 Michael Bay film Pain and Gain today, which is one, to tell you my history of this film. I remember coming out. I seen the end of it. I walked in one of the lads' house watching. He was watching the end of it, and I remember thinking, "This is fucking mad. I'll have to watch this sometime." Took me about fucking 13 years later to actually sit down and watch the full thing. So yeah, I noticed, and this is something people hate that I do, but I'll always look up the reviews of a film before I watch it, just to see what people think of it. It will never really affect how I enjoy the film, but I was surprised how slated this film is in reviews. Yeah. It's kind of 50-50.
Yeah, people either think it was terrible or people thought it was brilliant. Yeah. And the thing is, I think it's because it was partially because when people think Michael Bay, they think Pearl Harbor, Transformers, big explosions, hot women, and this wasn't really that. There was a couple of action sequences. So I was speaking to another comedian when I said I was coming on to do this, and he was saying he didn't enjoy it. He says it's like Michael Bay
podcast.
The film.
Who said that about me?
No. But they were saying it was like Michael Bay doing a Coen Brothers film or trying to do one, and that kind of was a shattering for me. I was like, oh fuck, he's right. Yeah. But the thing I think about it is that it is a massive joke about America, because yes, you got the most patriotic American director ever to make this satire of America, because they keep going on about the American dream, about how you work hard and you can achieve anything, when their plan is to steal everything. Yeah. But ironically, that's how America was founded, because they stole everything.
Right enough, yeah.
And I think even like the stories that you hear about, because like it's a true story, but they bend the truth. The parts where they bend the truth to replace other things were as equally insane as what they did.
Yeah.
Like they were psychotic people
Yeah.
thinking they could get away with this. But like that was the thing about America. It was like work hard, like Johnny Woo's just like, believe it, see it, achieve it. Johnny Woo was actually based on a real guy.
Oh, yeah, I read that, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of the things are like based in like slight parodies. But like I think it's a great film.
Yeah.
I think it's really enjoyable. It's one of them you can turn off your mammal brain and just watch it with your lizard brain, and it's just sick.
I completely agree. The only issue I had with it was maybe pacing.
Yeah.
I think there was a point where I was like, this must nearly be over. And I checked and it was an hour in, and I was like, oh, and then that kind of threw me off a wee bit. But then, like, other than that, I really enjoyed it. I was laughing out loud the whole way through. But yeah, so like apparently Michael Bay had wanted to make this since the year 2000.
Yeah.
And which I think would have been a bit weird because this is like early 90s this occurred. Might have been maybe a bit too fresh.
So the events happened between 94 and 97.
Yeah.
And they were sentenced, 94 and 95, and then I believe they were sentenced in 97, and then the fella Mike Collins, who wrote the full thing up for the newspaper, released his articles in 1999.
Yeah.
And that's when people started to catch wind of it, because everyone was like, did you hear about this insane plot of ninja bodybuilders?
Yeah.
Like, this, it does sound like, if you just made this film by itself, not realizing it was a true story, you go, this is too far-fetched. And it is, but it was that far-fetched. They were insane.
Because there is actually a point in the film, or I'll get to that later, sorry. But Michael Bay, the reason that he didn't make this sooner was because of Transformers. So he was kind of trying to get it made between like 2000 and around like 2007 then I think he did Transformers, but it probably would have been production since like 2005 or so. But this was like his lowest budget movie since his debut, which was Bad Boys.
Yes.
So I think he kind of wanted to do something like low budget, and I think it was 20 million was the budget anyway. But The Rock and Mark Wahlberg had actually taken pay cuts to be in the film.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that if you want Marky Mark and The Rock, you're going to have to pay big money. But then when you're Michael Bay, you can go, this film's sick, do it for less. And it still turned over decent money, I believe. Didn't it make like 80 million?
Oh, did it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it turned over, like it made a profit, but it just was kind of half slated, half people like, oh, this is pretty sick.
When we stuck this on last night, neither me or Aoife knew who directed it. And Aoife goes, who directed this? And I literally went, has to be Michael Bay, just because of the color grade of the film. And I was only probably realizing this when I was watching last night, everything he does is so oversaturated color wise. And like that was like when I looked up after then who directed it, pat myself in the back. I was like,
you were able to spot it straight away. Just there's them telltale signs of every director, just like Clint Eastwood, you can tell, because it's like, for this shot, done, move. Yeah. Like, it's just so quick.
Yeah.
But like, he just has that style, which you like to see in like more of a normal film, as it were. Sometimes just to see it come through. Yeah,
there was only like one explosion in this film, which is probably like taking it down quite a bit.
Only like a couple of major shootouts, and there was very little death. There was some death.
Yeah. There was some gruesome deaths.
Some very bad deaths.
So to give a brief overview then, so it's essentially, this is based on the true story of the three ninja bodybuilders who, the main guy called Daniel Lugo was essentially trying to chase the American dream by essentially like kidnapping his clients and making them sign over all their like properties to them and stuff. That was his way of making money. And he hooked in Paul Doyle. Well, Paul Doyle apparently wasn't actually a real character.
Paul Doyle was an amalgamation of the three characters who cooperated with the police.
Okay.
Whose names were Steven St. Pierre, Carl Weeks, and Jorge Delgado.
Okay.
But most of it is based on Jorge Delgado.
And funny enough, all their weights put together still wasn't as heavy as The Rock in this film.
The steroid cycle and the bulking he did for this film was insane.
Crazy.
I think in the end he was close to 22 stone.
Yeah, I read,
mad.
Because it's IMDb, it's all Americanized. I think he was 300 pounds or just under it.
Well, 280 is 20 stone. Yeah. And then there would be 294, so he was 21.5 stone.
Bonkers,
like that is wild.
Absolutely
that is
shredded,
a lot of
like
muscle put in a frame, like.
So starring Mark. Just turned in that, that Larry King interview with Mark Wahlberg. So starring Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Anthony Mackie, Tony Shalhoub. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I think it's Tony Shalhoub. I don't know if you pronounce the B.
Okay.
Because there's a Fox News host called Tom Shalhoub who spells it completely differently that I kept thinking that was his name.
Oh, yeah.
So every time it was just like, you know, I would open and it's like, all right, Tony Shalhoub, and he'd come up. And it was just a guy going, it's like, there's too many Mexicans in this country. And I was like, wrong guy.
Yeah, I was looking for Monk.
Yeah.
Then you got Ed Harris, Rob Corddry, Bar Pally, and Rebel Wilson in this. So yeah, it's essentially based on that true story of them, you know, ended up killing boys and all. Like, so the way I work this, I'm not sure if you've listened to the podcast before, but the way I work it is while I'm watching the film, I'll just write down talking points and stuff. Mostly just stuff that made me go, yeah, like, you know, things like that. And I think the first one I have down here is when Mark Wahlberg is trying to convince Anthony Mackie's character Adrian to, like, you know, join his cause. He says the sentence, "You love them big bitches and they love to eat." That can't be so good.
It was just that anxiety-inducing moment where he was like, you know, I like, he's just like, I need to pay for this to happen because I need these women in my life and I can't afford it because he loves it so much. Yeah. But like, that's it. It was like, in real life, Lugo was a lot. He's kind of portrayed as like smart, but like a complete idiot. Yeah. He was a bit smarter than people let on, but Dorable Anthony Mackie's character in real life was a lot more mental. He was like a lunatic.
Oh, okay.
So like, I don't know if he would necessarily have needed that much convincing because he did a lot of steroids, and obviously the side effect of steroids is roid rage. And he definitely, as they point out in the film a lot, he had like impotence, which is called as a side effect called Deca-Deck.
Yeah,
because
they actually mention that in the film.
Yeah, it destroys your cartilage in your penis, and it just causes it to atrophy. So like,
you know a lot about this here.
You see, the thing is, because when you go to the gym a lot, and then you see a film about the gym, and then like for years there's always like in bodybuilding and going to the gym and stuff, there's a lot of like steroid culture, steroid talk online, and a lot of gym culture and stuff. So you kind of pick up wee things over like the years about like, yeah, I know what Primobolan does, or like I know that Deca is considered like a mild steroid. Yeah, you know, especially in the 90s, like Deca and Primo were like the two main steroids people were doing, whereas like now there's like nobody even. They do peptides now and SARMs and stuff. Like it's all even changed from them.
Fuck, man.
No, it's what I am Cat GPT. Like I just pull stuff that I just remember for years.
Fair play to you, but yeah, I'm kind of like that, but with like, you know, 90s cartoon references, like, you know.
You see, it takes all kinds. You need everything.
So then there was a bit that kind of took me on, which was like a 5 minutes later. So in the film, nearly every character in the film has their own monologue, like their inner monologue, kind of explaining how they got to the situation they're in. But when The Rock is describing how he got there, it cuts to him just snorting a load of gear. And just The Rock these days and how well like cultivated his personality is in real life. And the roles that he does is more like Fast and Furious kind of stuff, like more family friendly action stuff. Like, and just to see The Rock sniffing a load of gear just brought a smile to my face.
Yeah, it was nice to see because he looked human for once.
Yeah,
like the thing, I think this is like one of The Rock's best performances in the film.
100% agree with you. Yeah,
it's one of the times he didn't play The Rock. He was playing Paul Doyle. Yeah, you know, I think Marky Mark's class in this film. I keep calling him Marky Mark because I do the same thing with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. He's just so good because he plays two guys, Streetwise guy from Boston or Idiot. Yeah. And he's class at both of them. Yeah. And it's nice to see him as the Idiot. Yeah. You know, like not compared to like when he was in The Happening with M. Night Shyamalan where it's like he's not a teacher. Yeah,
I've never watched it, but it's one of those films I'm very well versed in how shit it's meant to be. Like, you know.
Class premise, not execute it well.
No, what is it, like a spore releases and everyone kills themselves?
Yeah, it's a plant pheromone that gets released that makes you want to kill yourself. Right. And there's a lot of cool scenes, there's a lot of good ideas, but like Marky Mark was not the casting as the teacher. He shouldn't have been.
What the hell?
What the hell? These plants that are causing everyone to make him die, and I don't like that. Like he was just so bizarre in it. Yeah. But no, it's a if you want to see like a bad film buff, yeah watch that one. It's really bad.
Fair enough. Did you notice any? There were two big cameos in this one. Blink and you miss it cameos. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, Kurt Angle.
I like. So when we were watching it, the bit that Kurt Angle shows up in is a flashback during The Rock's monologue about how he ended up where he was, and it was him in prison. He said he was decided to, like, you know, protect the weak. So he picks on two guys doing weights that are starting on like a smaller guy, and it was only when he like frisbees the weight at this lad's face, and it's only when it shows you that I was like, that's fucking Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
like I remember seeing it like the first time and not noticing it. It was years later when I came back to it and seeing like, what the fuck's Kurt Angle doing in this film?
Yeah.
But it's great. Like, you know, you just don't expect those things. But you're saying there's a second one. I didn't know there's a second one.
Well, so just to go back in the Kurt Angle thing, that close up in his face was on screen for such a quick second that I doubted myself.
Yeah.
And I was going through IMDb trying to find him, and he wasn't listed in IMDb. So I went to his IMDb profile, and it came up known for, and the second thing in the thing was Pain and Gain, and it came up uncredited, and I was like, that's why.
That's why they left him off.
But The Rock versus Kurt Angle, bringing back the Attitude Era there.
That's what we want. That's all we want. We just want the nostalgia. We want to be children again. We don't like being adults.
So the other cameo, was during I think it was Mark Wahlberg or Daniel Lugo's monologue, and he's holding the punching bag for a guy, and the guy punching is the cameo. Of any idea? No,
I don't remember that part.
It's Vladimir Klitschko.
Oh shit, was it?
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
I straight away I was like, that's fucking Klitschko. Like, and Aoife was the same with Kurt Angle. She's like, who? And I was like, let me ring one of the boys here.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I like MMA. I've never been big into boxing because my thing about boxing is, I know this is a really stupid thing to think. It's just like, I keep thinking the whole time, why doesn't he kick him?
Yeah.
And then when he kicks him, it's like, why doesn't he wrestle him to the ground?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, MMA does that. And I was like, oh, that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Like, I just never followed boxing a while lot. Like, but hey, I know like who the big hitters are. And then, Klitschko, I never even noticed that was Klitschko.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go, I absolutely love the scene where they're in the strip club and keep need to look at this sheet. Adrian, Anthony Mackie's character, is trying to convince The Rock that breast milk is the way to go.
Yeah. Well, in the 90s and in the early 2000s, that was a legitimate thing in bodybuilding culture, because there are trace amounts of human growth hormone in women's breast milk.
Oh, wow.
There is like people who were paying women for their breast milk to mix with their protein shakes and stuff. Like, that was a real thing people would do just to get an edge.
That's bonkers.
Yeah,
like.
it doesn't really do anything though. It's no more. It's really nutrient dense for a baby. Yeah. But for an adult, it's not.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, no, people did legitimately do that. People were always doing crazy things.
He says something, he's like, oh, you interested? I've got a really good breast milk girl or breast milk chick I know, and he's like, she's real clean.
She's real clean. And then he says no. He's just like, fine, I'll just keep my breast milk for myself. So that you do that, brother.
And then there's a bit then with Anthony Mackie when he's kind of roided out and then realised he needs to come off because his dick's not working anymore. He goes to the dick clinic and Rebel Wilson showed up. I don't know why, but I hate Rebel Wilson.
Do you?
I hate her, and I kind of always have. Well, I didn't always. Sorry, the first time I ever seen her in anything was in a TV show back in the day, and this is before she got really big. Called Workaholics. Did you ever watch it?
I heard of it. I never seen it.
It was very funny actually, and I've been threatening to rewatch for years. But there's an episode where they go to a Juggalo festival, like, you know, the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah.
And she plays this Juggalo, and she's mental and she's hilarious. Like, but she's got nunchucks in it. Yeah. And then she's also got nunchucks in this.
Yeah.
So as soon as I seen the kind of last night when I was watching this, it's like, why does Rebel Wilson always have fucking nunchucks? So apparently they're her own, and she took them with her.
She just takes them with her.
Was like, yeah, I can fucking do these. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There you go. Because the thing is, in this film, I think every scene she's in, she steals the scene.
So this is what I was going to say. Yeah. So when she showed up, and I have it down here, just the words, I hate Rebel Wilson, right? When she shows up, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then the next point I have down is I take it back. Yeah. Because I was laughing out loud.
She's
like,
so good in this film.
She has a great line where when Adrian, Anthony Mackie's character's getting his dick injected, he's like, oh, I used to have a nickname for my penis. And then he's like explaining this to the doctor. He's like, oh, I'm sure you don't want to hear about this. And then she just turned around and goes, I used to call my veg Michelle.
He called his dick Ernesto.
Ernesto, that's what it was.
She called her dick, her family Michelle. Yeah. Which is like, it's just, that's such a nice name. That's just a nice name. It is.
It's lovely. Like, yeah.
Just like calling your vagina that. And this is like, you know what? Fair play. But I think genuinely she was like a scene stealer in every one of the scenes.
I thought she was very good in this. And I almost kind of went, maybe I could grow to love Rebel Wilson. Like, so she was actually great in it. I noticed in the early scenes that there was a lot of The Rock carrying a skateboard.
Yeah.
As soon as I seen it, I said, Dave, I could bet you £1,000,000 at no stage is actually going to show you The Rock on that skateboard.
No, I think it was implied that because he done a pile of gear and like had like alcohol problems that he'd lost his license.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I took it as implied, that the only way he could get around was this skateboard. And I think there is probably footage out there that exists of him trying to skateboard, all 22 stone of him, and he just can't.
Right enough, yeah.
And I think that's where it's kind of implied, because as he breaks down in the film, like he starts driving all these fast cars and driving all the time, and he's getting blocked. But like, I think that's what's implied, because he has the skateboard after he has just, quite frankly, beat the shit out of a priest.
Yeah.
Like completely knocked his head in, and is just holding this skateboard like a goofy child running away from home.
Unreal, like, yeah. And he had the 90s combo of the really long basketball shorts and high tops, like that and the skateboard. It was a cool look for The Rock. I quite liked it. Like, what else do I have here? I fucking forgot to Google this, but there's a bit. So in the film, there's like 2 or 3 scenes where so they're called the Sun Gym Gang. Is that their name in real life? Yeah. Let's just call them the Sun Gym Gang. When they're going to kidnap, what the fuck's his name?
Victor Kershaw.
And I think there's 3 scenes in the film, but reading up, it was actually 7 failed kidnap attempts for kidnapping Victor Kershaw. But there was a scene in the film where they're sneaking up on his house, and it's when they realize he's actually having like a dinner party.
Yeah.
And Gangster's Paradise is playing.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It sounded like Weird Al singing Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah.
But I know that he did a cover called Amish Paradise.
Yes.
But I forgot to Google what was the crack with that.
It was... I thought the same thing, because I was like, when I hear Gangster's Paradise, I can't help but hear Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
So I had the same thought, but it does play Gangster's Paradise. The fun thing about that attempt is that they're all dressed like soldiers, and they're going to raid a Jewish fella's house on a Friday night. The one thing you know about Jewish people is that they are unavailable from Friday night to Saturday morning because of Shabbat.
Oh yeah, so it said that.
Yeah.
What is that then exactly?
That's like the Jewish dinner, like they have, and like that's like Saturday's like their holy day. So that starts in sunset and then it carries on to the next day. It's when they go to temple and stuff. So if they just knew like a slight amount of research, they would have knew not to go.
Right enough.
But in real life, that was actually their 3rd attempt where they dressed like soldiers.
Yeah.
And what they did was they hid under blankets in his yard.
Right.
And the neighbours started flashing like their lights on them, just like, what's in Mark's yard?
Yeah.
Because in real life, his name was Mark Schiller.
Oh yeah.
They changed his name. The thing about it is they changed his name to protect his identity, and then made him the biggest arsehole in the world in the film.
Yeah.
When apparently he was just a lovely normal
fella.
Really? Yeah. But he made him a complete asshole. That was their 3rd attempt. Their first attempt was they were going to dress as ninjas and trick or treat his house on Halloween, and then they thought, oh wait, why would adults be dressed as ninjas? So they just went to the strip club instead.
Right.
There were so many attempts. They tried to run him off the road on the freeway, and they got next to him, but they didn't realise he was taking the exit, and they missed the exit. They tried so many times, but they got him, and they got him in the end.
I know what you mean now about how like people wouldn't believe that that's a true story, like how stupid some of the things they've actually done is.
Yeah, but it was mental.
But yeah, so you reckon that was Weird Al singing it, but it was just Gangster's Paradise?
It was Gangster's Paradise, but the first thing I heard as well, I've been spending most of my life living in the Amish Paradise. I heard it as well, but because it sounded too high. Yeah,
it definitely wasn't the original Gangster's Paradise.
I don't think. I think it definitely sounded too high, like a pitch up.
Yeah.
Of it, which Weird Al's I think was. But no, I think it was credited as Gangster's Paradise. It sang Gangster's Paradise, but it did sound like Amish Paradise.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, one of my favourite parts of the film was when they kidnap Victor Kershaw. How quickly The Rock just tries to be like his friend, because he realises that he was also a recovering addict.
Yes.
And there's a bit where Victor like tries to run away from him, and the Rock drops him, and he says this great line which I've written down here was Jesus blessed me with many gifts, and one of them is knocking people the fuck out.
It was kind of like a throwback, to Friday when he's like, you just got knocked
the fuck out. Yeah.
It was a throwback to that. The interesting thing is, I'm sorry to keep going back because I feel like I'm doing a lot of actuallying him here, but in the real story, Jorge Delgado and Carl Schiller, who's Victor Kershaw, were business partners before he was in the Sun Gym gang.
Okay.
They actually knew each other. That's how it's because of Daniel Lugo. They actually were no longer business partners because Victor Kershaw said, I don't trust this Daniel Lugo fellow that you know. And Jorge Delgado says, I think he's sound. And he goes, well, our business venture's done together because I do not trust that man. Yeah. But it's because Jorge Delgado knew so much about the code to Victor Kershaw's house, all his dodgy dealings, all his financial accounts. He was able to give Lugo all that information that made him the first target.
I get you.
So there was a friendship between The Rock's character and Kershaw in real life.
Okay.
So that's how they kind of played it off in the film.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting then. And I read the character of played by Rob Corddry, John Mess, Messa is the guy that owns the gym.
Yeah.
So he was actually a lot more involved in the real life compared to what was portrayed in the film. He wasn't just a notary. He actually helped them quite a bit.
So the thing about John Macy's was an accountant before, and he made a fortune as an accountant. But from the 50s and 60s, he was always really into bodybuilding. So his dream was to own a gym, a bodybuilding gym, have all that. And Lugo did actually, he says, give me 3 months, I'll triple your membership. And Lugo actually did. He did do it by free membership for strippers, free wax, and he brought all these people in. And it made him loads and loads of money, because that was all Macy's wanted, was to be because they did open a Gold's Gym around the corner, that is true, and they were feared of losing a lot of business, but they didn't. But he was so heavily involved, and he was also, the thing is, he was a lot older than what do you call the actor that played him?
Oh, Rob Corddry. Yeah.
Rob Corddry, because when
he was in his mid-50s when that kicked off. Yeah. And so at the end of the film, it said he got 15 years, and I was looking it up. Or did it say in the end credits he actually ended up dying in prison?
He died in prison. He had a stroke in 2004 and died.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he passed away in prison. But yeah, he was so heavily involved in it. It wasn't just the notary stuff. He was more au fait with it than he lets on.
Yeah. I'd say one of my favourite lines as well. So after Jesus bless me with many gifts, I don't even know. You see, I'm so bad at writing notes with no context, and then I'm going, why the fuck did I write this? But someone says to The Rock, what do you call the porn guy in this? Character?
Frank Griga.
Yeah, Frank Griga says to The Rock, he's like, you should never wear yellow because kids will start jumping on your back thinking you're a fucking school bus.
That was a fucking sick burn. That was a good roast of The Rock.
Unbelievable.
It was so good. But yeah, and that's another thing. Griga is played off as this really sleazy guy, and apparently again, lovely man.
Yeah.
Although yes, he made his millions in phone sex, but apparently really nice guy.
Oh, he must. Oh, so was it phone sex? Because I once see he's saying about his partner. He's like, oh, listen to her moan. She's real good at the phone sex.
Yeah. In real life, him and his partner were made millions on phone sex.
It must have been one of those numbers at the back of a magazine. Yeah. It's like, ring this
for a good time, which you still see sometimes in stalls and Apple Greens, and I was like, that's a throwback. That's nobody's doing that anymore.
I know, yeah.
That's not real.
Class. Another cracking line was, so there's a scene where Lugo goes in to the bank to try to clear all of Victor's accounts, and he's like, oh yeah, but Victor has to be present for this, and I'm going to do the worst Mark Wahlberg impression of all time here, but he's like, he can't, he's in Europe saving the elephants. That was Christopher Walken. What the fuck was that?
I'll try it here. It's like, cool. Well, I told you, Mr. Kershaw's overseas in Europe saving elephants.
That was way better. Way better.
Which Lugo did come out with mad shit like that in real life.
Yeah.
In his court case, it's going back to the start of the film where he says, America's the land of the brave and home of the second chances. He did say that in the court case.
Oh, really?
And he also did say when they said they find him guilty, he says, yeah, that's what I told you I was.
Yeah.
He did say that, and then did 15 years in prison. Or no, 15 months in prison.
And that was before the whole actual Sun Gym gang thing happened. So as I say, there's only one actual explosion in this film, which is bonkers for a Michael Bay film. And it's essentially when they're trying to kill Victor and they feed him a load of drinks, stick him in the car, cover the car in petrol, and make him crash. But I pissed myself laughing when they go to check whether he's alive, and he's like, and then Lugo turns around to Adrian and is like, you put his fucking seatbelt on?
Yeah. Which is what happened in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
so
my God.
They floored his car. He crashed into the pillar and his seatbelt was on and he was fine.
Yeah.
Then that one explosion that had happened, they did cover the car in petrol.
Yeah.
It did go up.
It was just the outside though, was it?
Yeah, just the outside, and they thought like, oh, he'll burn to death, and he got out of the car.
That's crazy. Like,
it was, they tried to run him over once and they missed him, and they hit him the second time, and they were going to run over him a third time, but in the film they do it, but the third time another car was coming, so they drove away really quickly, and then that's when they found him. Yeah. And he went to the hospital afterwards. But yeah, that all happened.
Madness. Like, yeah. Where are we here? Yeah, so I've got Vladimir Klitschko down there. Yeah, and a bit I really loved was when they're trying to figure out what is it? Yeah, they're trying to figure out where Victor is and what hospital he rang from. So they go up to the guy that's running the motel, and they're like, oh, we're thinking of having our honeymoon here. Or no, was it we're thinking of doing our... Is it honeymoon? Yeah.
Yeah, The Rock was I'm going to do my honeymoon. This is after Kershaw flees the hospital.
Yeah.
Because they did actually... They looked in the paper after it happened and seen there was no obituary.
Yeah.
So they did go to the Miami General dressed as surgeons in an attempt to go and kill him. Like... And they did get lost in the hospital.
Yeah.
They couldn't find him.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they did go to the motel to find him, he says, I'm going to bash your brains in if you don't let me figure out.
Yeah.
But then that's how they were able to figure out, well, this is a wee bit on, from when they, because he fled, when he was in the hospital, he rang the private detective first.
Yeah, I was getting muddled up there. Like, yeah, so he goes from the hospital to the motel. Yeah. And then he rings the gym from the motel. And then that's when they figure out how he's there, because they hit star 69, which is essentially like 1471 from back in the day. And then that's when they figured out where he is. But then when they're pretending to the guy behind the desk that he's going to have his honeymoon here, and he's like, why would you want to have your honeymoon here? And he goes, oh, there's a lot of fond memories in here, and this is The Rock's in this. He goes, this is actually the same hotel where I bashed my first guy's brains in. He goes, now that was an aluminum bat, but this one's wooden, so I'd really love to give it a try. Like, and it just goes back to what you're saying earlier. This is probably one of The Rock's best roles of all time.
Unbelievable,
like, it's not even that he was like overly like good at acting. He was just so charismatic and funny in it, I thought. Like, I
think at the start he comes across as like sincerely somebody who wants to change his life, but then the old ways come back to him. Yeah. And then when he plays like a guy who's addicted to coke, he's just always on edge, just always like, yep, like that there. He's just waiting for the next bump.
Yeah, jaw hanging clean off him and all. Like,
fucking class. But also when they did the star 69, that's one of my favorite lines in the scene. Is like Mark Wahlberg says to Macy, he goes, hit star 69. He goes, you want me to have sex with you?
Yeah. Great, but yeah. I thought the last maybe like 40 minutes, the film got like less funny and just like super dark.
Yeah.
But again, The Rock was like putting on unbelievable performances. But when he loses his toe and then runs into the wedding in Anthony Mackie's back garden, and he's fucked and he's covered in the green ink from trying to rob the ATM boys and all, and then he's like, they shot off my toe, and he hands it to Mark Wahlberg in a bag, and he's like, what the fuck
am I supposed to do with this? He goes, they can reattach it, and he goes like, no, they can't reattach it, they asked too many questions. You used to have 10, now you have 9. God has a plan. It was that's just great, the way he can, like, I love that scene, because that isn't part of the real story, because like The Rock isn't a real guy, but they did blow through all their money really quickly. Like that's why they had to move on to Griga, because they were like, we have spent all of Kershaw's money, who they did essentially get away with Kershaw for a brief time because the police didn't believe him, because it was so far-fetched, and there was a racist element to it, because Kershaw in the film's from Colombia, but Schiller in real life was half Argentine,
Oh, okay.
and they just thought, look, it's just some Latin fella, some Latin drug dealer has concocted this scheme who's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
They didn't believe him.
Mad.
Except for Ed Dubois says, I will investigate this.
So he was a real guy then, Ed Dubois?
Ed Dubois was a real guy, and genuinely, like, the way he found out is because he seen the notary and went to Macy's and said, Macy's did say the line, you know all these Latins, they all look alike.
Yeah,
He said that in real life, and then he planned to meet Delgado and Lugo in the office of Macy's, and when they didn't turn up, he started snooping around the office and found their entire plan for Kershaw in the bin.
Oh my God.
That's how he actually came across it all.
That is mental.
It was mad the way it came about.
Yeah.
But yeah, even when, like, as I said, even like the true story is insane as the film.
Yeah.
Like, it's just mad.
Yeah, yeah. There was a bit near the end that I almost brought up earlier, but I thought it'd be better to leave it the closer we get to the actual end of the film, that made me laugh out loud. And it's essentially when they kill, I keep forgetting his name, the phone sex guy, sorry.
Griga, yeah.
Griga. He's the one name I didn't write down for some reason. When they kill Griga and his wife and they're like trying to chop them up, and again, you know the true story better than I do. Is that true that they took the chainsaw back with human hair in it?
I couldn't find anywhere that said it did or didn't happen.
Yeah.
I do know that they did take them. He did hit them with hatchets.
Yeah.
And I think they might have done that. I can't confirm that.
Yeah.
But the one part about it that is true about the wife was that she was the first ever person identified from her breast implants.
Mad.
Because they cut off their hands and their feet and I believe their heads,
Yeah.
and had them separately. They couldn't identify them, but she was identified from
The barcodes.
on her breast implants.
Yeah, so the bit that I was going to bring up there is when they cut the hands off, and he's like, oh, you're going to have to grill the fingerprints off, and they give the Rock a barbecue to do this, and he's in the warehouse, and he's like, it's too smoky in here, so he takes it out the front, and he's literally like turning the hands as if they're hamburgers, like, and a girl comes out of the building opposite and like waves, and he's like, hey, and like waves as if he is just making burgers.
Just off his tits and coke.
Yeah, there's a freeze frame then, and it just says, this is still a true story. It's like, oh my God. Like,
they did try to barbecue and burn the hands and the feet. It was Lugo did it.
Yeah.
In the film, they have it the other way around, so that they say Lugo killed Gringa and Dorbel killed his wife.
Yeah.
When it was the other way around.
Okay.
Dorbel strangled Gringa to death.
Okay.
In an argument in the house, because they set up to go back a bit, they did employ like a scheme on Griga where they says like, here, you're in the phone sex game, but people in India need phones in general.
Yeah.
That was how they got in with them. And the way they actually met him was because although Dorbel had his wife, he was trying to bang a stripper in like a nightclub for ages and couldn't get her, and then eventually he pulled her and went back to her place. His dick didn't work, so they couldn't do anything. And he started going through like the pictures in her house and seeing him and her sitting in this big Lamborghini. And was like, who's that? He's like, that's Frank Griga. And he brought that to Lugo and said, I found the next boy.
That's mad.
That's how they found him in real life.
Mad, like.
But they did like several meetings with him. Strangled him to death in his own house, in Dorbel's house, and then they did the horse tranquilizer on his wife to try and get her to bring the code for the safe. So they gave her one, it didn't work, they had the wrong code. And then another person who was in the Sun Gym gang gave her a second dose. I think his name was John Raimundo. He gave her a second dose, didn't work, couldn't get her. They were just trying to keep her sedated till she gave the right code. It was Lugo gave her the third injection that killed her, but Lugo injected her. She didn't respond, and then Dorbel rang Lugo when he was at Gringa's house trying to open the safe, said the bitch is cold. So that part is actually from the film is
that's
real.
exactly what he said in the film. Yeah, that's class. But
it's mad.
I love it. I think I should do more of these podcasts where it's like a movie based on like something awful that happened, because it's kind of like half true crime, half film podcast. Like, it's fucking class.
It's such a good premise for a film. Like, and I do think it was done well enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it deserves the hate it got.
It is such a ridiculous concept, and some of the stuff they did was so ridiculous that it only works as a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it could have worked like if fucking I don't know, if Nolan or something tried to take it on, like, you know.
Yeah, but I thought you meant Stephen, and I was like, I know he's doing that Pillars thing at the minute,
Fuck
but
you
like,
and your mom. Yeah.
he's but Christopher Nolan with a bit of time travel element. They could get Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy would kill in this film. He's good in everything.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, no, it's such a good show.
Yeah. So just to jump into a bit of trivia then, so a lot of this we've probably already discussed. So yeah, the Sun Gym gang, 7 failed kidnapping attempts before they actually ended up getting Victor Kershaw, and then this is Michael Bay's lowest budgeted film since Bad Boys, already said that. So this one kind of made me go, no fucking way, right? The house that they use is Frank Rega's house in it. Do you know the fact about it?
No, I don't know this now.
It's actually Michael Bay's house himself. So
That's his own house?
He filmed that in his own house.
I suppose that kept the location cost down.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
But before that, it was someone else's house. It was Hulk Hogan's.
Fuck off.
And did you ever watch Hogan Knows Best back in the day?
No, but I knew of it. Like, I would have seen, like, may have been on, like, MTV when I was going through the channels.
It was like, I used to love it. It was kind of like they were trying to make him like the new Osbournes. Like, so they had Hogan Knows Best, and it was about him being a dad and all, but that's the house that he lived in when they were filming Hogan Knows Best. Like,
never knew that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool,
that
actually.
blew my mind, but I love that. Like, already said about Rebel Wilson bringing her own nunchucks. So a bit of alternate casting here. Do you know, here's a quiz question for you, do you know who was meant to be playing Victor Kershaw but had to pull out?
No, I don't know.
John Turturro.
Really?
Yeah, I think he would have been great.
He would have been great, but like, I think Tony Shalhoub comes across as such an arsehole.
He
I
is.
hate him so much.
He's brilliant.
That
Like,
he's actually class on it.
See,
But I didn't know that.
Tony Shalhoub is that actor that every time he comes on screen, anything I'm watching, and I don't see him in too much, but to this day I go, that's Jeeves from Men in Black.
Yeah,
You know?
that's where I knew him from.
Yeah.
Because like, when I was like checking to see what other stuff he'd been in, like it's stuff I heard of but I'd never seen.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh yeah, the guy from Men in Black.
Yeah.
I know him straight away.
You have any idea how much that stings? Yeah. So there was another bit in this, and this is just me patting myself in the back again. When we were watching this last night, so the scene where Adrian takes the dog to his girlfriend Rebel Wilson, in the background I was like, that looks like Dexter's apartment from, did you ever watch the TV show Dexter?
Yes. I
was like, that looks like Dexter's apartment. Holy fuck, like that's the double of it. I wonder, is that the same filming location? It was, yeah.
Fucking hell, I didn't know that.
So it actually said, that was the first thing it said in the trivia, and I was like,
really?
Yes!
I never knew that at all.
Yeah.
Do you have more trivia there? I've got one pretty cool fact about this film.
Fire away there, and
So this going back to the middle of the film when they originally capture Kershaw and they take him to the warehouse.
Yeah.
So in the film, it's full of sex toys.
Yeah.
And I just small.
I didn't understand whose warehouse was that. Was that Kershaw's?
It was a friend of. In the film, it was a friend of Lugo's. But this is the cool piece of trivia I have about this. So, in the film, it's full of sex toys, and my favorite name for one of the sex toys in it was this big purple dildo that they called the Great American Challenge, which I can just imagine Mark Wahlberg's character trying to sell. It's like, this dildo is fucking patriotic because, like, you know what? It's big and it's a challenge, but Americans need.
Yeah.
But in real life, where they took him was actually Jorge Delgado, who I mentioned earlier. It was his warehouse with a venture that he previously had with the real-life Victor Kershaw car Schiller.
Yeah, okay.
It was a medical supply warehouse.
Okay.
At the end of the Sun Gym Gang's trial, the real-life Victor Kershaw was arrested for Medicare fraud. So where they stored him, they were writing fake invoices to the government and saying like, oh, we sold this dialysis machine, we sold this here, we sold that there, and then like billing the US government for it. So he then he did 2 years in prison from the warehouse where he had this fake medical supply company where he was tortured previously with a venture that he had with one of the Sun Gym gang.
Jesus Christ.
It was mad. He did 2 years in prison straight after them.
That's mad.
It was mental.
Yeah. And was he? Are you saying then he was caught because of all that came out about where he's being held and all that?
Yeah. So because of the way they were able to go back, and they basically then had to dig into the real life Kershaw and be like, shit, this guy was telling the truth.
Yeah.
But a lot of his dodgy dealings came to light because of Delgado, because Delgado, along with Weeks and Stevenson Pierre, all cooperated.
Yeah.
And that's how they got the information.
Okay.
Because in order to get a reduced sentence, they told him everything. And the second that trial was over, he was walking out of the courthouse, they arrested him on Medicare fraud.
That's mad.
Yeah. It was insane.
That's class, man. No, I didn't have that, actually. That's great. I have 2 left, right? So, just looking up. So, Adrian and Lugo, so they were sentenced to death at the end of the film.
Yes.
But in real life, they were still on death row up until 2024. And then they were resentenced in 2024. And instead of death, they were just given life.
Yeah.
But apparently that's common enough for people to spend years on death row, never actually being put to death. Like,
you see, the argument is that you don't want to do it straight away in case new evidence comes to light.
Yeah.
But there's also a case of it's like you want to make the person suffer for as long as possible, thinking they're gonna die. But they spent the guts of 17, 18 years on death row, but they changed it just to do life in prison.
That's mad.
They're still inside now.
Yeah.
The rest of the gang are now out.
Yeah.
And they complained a bit about the film. That's how I found out apparently how the real life Kershaw was this lovely guy, because he was like, they make me look like an asshole. I think they had to make him look like an asshole because you had to kind of root for them at the start, and then it's kind of like, do you know that episode of Black Mirror, like Shut Up and Dance?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Where they
Black Mirror freaks me out. I've only seen a few episodes.
It's the one where the guy is being blackmailed about a video of him wanking, but you found out at the end.
Oh, that he's meant to be a pedo or something.
Yeah, he's a pedo, and you were rooting for the pedo the whole time, going like, "Oh, get away with it," and you're like, "Oh, fuck no." It was kind of like that in that you were rooting for this gang. They were like, "Yeah, do you know what? Stole money off this rich asshole, gone ahead," and then it's like, "Oh, they're going to do it again." They're like, "Oh, fuck no, this is really bad."
yeah. But also, like, by making him such a wanker, as you said, the main thing is that you're rooting for them a wee bit more, but also it's funnier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the last bit of trivia I have here, it's not even trivia, it's shit. It's just me going, is the fact that The Rock says the line, you know, you have to hit rock bottom. And I was like, yes, yeah, you do, Rock. Like,
it's like, I had a similar scene in where, you know, where Mark Wahlberg's playing basketball with the kids, and he just completely like posters some child,
annihilates
and then he goes, "Yeah, you got to get up. Do you know what it is? It's pain and gain. You learn from it." It's like, that's the name of the film.
Yes, it's like a Family Guy thing, you know, with Peter. You know,
that's what it was like. It was just like, yes, that bit, and also the scenes where he was like, see that's close grip bench press. You're gonna need that. Chicks love pecs. Hope none of you guys are gay. And it's like these kids are 7.
Right.
It was just such a bizarre scene.
Unbelievable. Do you have anything else trivia wise or anything, like, or true story wise?
No, I think I got most of it out, but you know what'll happen? I'll get back to the car drive now. It's like, fuck, I should have said this.
Listen, it happens to me every single time I record an episode. Like.
But genuinely, it is such a good film. You just watch it. Everybody, if that's one thing I can say, just watch it.
Don't listen to this though. You're probably too late now. But
it's
like,
too late.
Yeah,
Put this
spoiler
at the
alert.
Start. Put this at the start, and then watch it. And then come back here, and you'll have like fun trivia about the film, and different things that we liked.
That's it.
But no, it's such a good show. I love
it. So tell me this: if you were to come on and do the podcast again, so when I was first writing to you, so like, we probably had the crack. It was in the Ulster Sports Club that night, and I was saying to you before we started recording that I'd been on the drink all day, and I have vague, like, interspersed memories of some of the shit that I was talking to you. And I woke up next day, I was like, because you were driving, you weren't drinking. I was like, what did I say to that poor man? Like, but I remember we got on we were talking quite a bit about punk rock bands and Black Flag, maybe.
We were talking a lot about DC hardcore.
That's it.
Funny enough, last night after I was gigging in Accidental, it was me, David Campbell, and Ross Mitchell.
Yeah,
we're just sitting talking about like DC hardcore and stuff. I think we were talking about Deftones as well.
Yeah,
and
the resurgence of Deftones.
I was talking about Hum, who are like, we were like a major inspiration for Deftones, and they're so fucking good.
I need to check them out.
They are really good. And then a lot about like Norwegian black metal.
Yes,
it was like my weird knowledge of it that I have from years ago.
Yeah,
but it was. Yeah, no. What was the question?
Oh yeah, so there was no question. I was gonna say. So that was the night. I think I tortured so many of the lads that night because it was Kieran Franco's Good Time Charlie show.
Yes, a very good show.
It was unreal. Yeah, me and Soupy went up to watch it and got an Airbnb and all, and then just went on the drink after in the Ulster Sports Club. But it was the first time I met a load of yous. I met you briefly in Mocara before that, but I was saying you should come on and do the fucking podcast on. You're well up for it, but then you had the same misconception, which most people do, is you thought it was just bad movies that I talked about. So now knowing that it can be any film you want, if you were to come back onto the podcast, what film do you think you'd talk about?
Oh, I don't know.
This is my wee trick to get people to be returning guests.
See, I thought it was... See, the original film that I hit you with, because I thought it was Lesbian Vampire Killers.
Oh, yeah,
Corin and Cordon's star vehicle that caused them to no longer be friends.
Oh, really?
But, I don't know. I felt, again... this is difficult, because, I did have, such an appreciation for bad films. When bad films were kind of, taking off in the mid... 10s, again, where everybody's watching The Room, Goblins 2 and stuff, and I don't know if I'll come back.
Troll 2.
You don't want to do something dense. It needs to be something that's good. You don't want to do Dogville, or There Will Be Blood. Well, There Will Be Blood would actually be sick.
I've never seen either of those films.
Dogville's really weird in that it's kind of set in a soundstage.
Yeah.
There's no settings. It's just actors acting.
Okay.
It's actually kind of like a play. It's actually it's pretty cool, but it's just a good film. But I think There Will Be Blood is sick. No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
Maybe
it's
you've
great.
done that. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that when you watch it and you tell somebody, did you ever notice when you watch it, there's no music in that film, and you're like, holy shit,
I've never noticed that, actually.
There's no music in that film.
Is there not?
There's no soundtrack.
I need to rewatch
it's
it. But
so good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in years.
That's the hair I'm actually growing out, is Javier Bardem's hair in that film.
Oh, yeah, you go for the bowl cut.
They're just going to go on the petrol station and go, call it.
Yeah.
Call it.
Yeah, I've seen Cathaoir there. He's walking around with a weird gas canister thing. I don't know what the crack is there.
He uses them for the cows that he has up around his. I seen him telling somebody at a Mondeo, just stand still.
Unreal.
Such a good film.
But yeah, I think that's us. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem,
everyone check. You're on Instagram. It's just Cathaoir O'Hagan, is it your username?
Yeah, I don't post that much content. I just kind of post where I'm going to be gigging.
Yeah.
But you can come there instead.
Yeah.
Go and see that. When will this go out?
I don't know. I bank episodes, and it depends how many you can get banked. So it could be a month or two
around.
Yeah, that's what I always say to people. Anything to plug, it'll probably be gone by then. But no, but definitely for anyone that's listening, check out, or if you get the chance, go see Cathaoir stand up. I've seen you twice now. So the first time was in Mocara, and I didn't realise, as I said earlier in the podcast, how unique your stand up style is. And I'll not spoil it for anyone that wants to go see it, but I was like, oh shit, here we go, it's a class. And then it was pretty much the same set I seen you do then in Monterey that night, and I think it's because I knew what jokes are coming. I was in bits, 'cause you were hilarious the first time, and even more hilarious the second time. So I would always say, if anyone gets a chance to go see Cathaoir do stand up, fucking do it. It's something so different and so good and so unique.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, thanks for making the trip.
Anytime, man. I'm gonna try and navigate my way out of Newry now.
Yes, when you get out of the keys, you gotta pull it.
I just need to figure out where to go, and I'll be okay. But we'll get there.
You see a headline, just Ballycastle man still stuck in Newry 3 weeks later.
I'm just live here now. That's all I can do.
Cheers, man.
No bother, man.